Welcome to Mystic Realms, where we explore the hidden knowledge of the esoteric world. Today, we delve into one of the most enigmatic and controversial figures in occult history, Aleister Crowley. A mystic, magician, and self-proclaimed prophet, Crowley developed a spiritual philosophy that continues to influence modern esotericism. But who was he really? And what were the teachings that made him both revered and feared? Let's find out. Who was Aleister Crowley? Born on October 12, 1875, in Royal Leamington Spa, England, Edward Alexander Crowley was raised in a strict Plymouth Brethren household. His father, a wealthy brewer and devout Christian, instilled in him a rigid religious upbringing. However, after his father's death when Crowley was 11, he began to rebel against Christian doctrine, questioning authority and embracing a more individualistic spiritual path. Crowley attended Trinity College, Cambridge, where he studied literature and philosophy while indulging in poetry, mountaineering, and esoteric studies. His interest in the occult intensified during this time, leading him to explore alchemy, Kabbalah, and ceremonial magic. In 1898, he joined the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, a secret society focused on Western esoteric traditions. Although he quickly rose in the ranks, his brash personality and disputes with prominent members like W.B. Yeats and Samuel Liddell MacGregor Mathers led to conflicts within the order. Crowley's approach to magic and spirituality was far more experimental and daring, emphasizing personal experience over tradition. After extensive travels in Egypt, India, and China, Crowley developed his own mystical philosophy, deeply influenced by Eastern religions, yoga, and ceremonial magic. In 1904, during a stay in Cairo, Egypt, he claimed to have received a supernatural revelation from an entity named Was, which became the foundation of his spiritual system, Thelema. The central tenet of Thelema was summed up in the phrase, "Backhand index pointing right, do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law." This was not a call for anarchic self-indulgence, but rather an encouragement for individuals to discover and fulfill their true purpose, or true will, through spiritual and magical practices. Crowley's radical views, open embrace of sexual liberation, drug experimentation, and anti-Christian rhetoric, earned him notoriety in the early 20th century. British tabloids dubbed him the wickedest man in the world, painting him as a sinister, depraved occultist. Despite his controversial reputation, Crowley left an enduring legacy in modern esotericism, ceremonial magic, and countercultural movements. His influence can be seen in modern Wicca, chaos magic, and even popular culture, where figures from the Beatles to Led Zeppelin have referenced his work. Crystal ball: from his time in secret societies to his creation of Thelema, Aleister Crowley remains one of history's most enigmatic and polarizing occult figures. Thelema, derived from the Greek word for will, is the spiritual and philosophical system developed by Aleister Crowley. It is founded on the principle that each individual possesses a unique, divinely inspired purpose called their true will. To discover and follow this true will is the path to enlightenment and self-liberation. 1904. Crowley claimed to have received a sacred text, Libere el Vel Legis, commonly known as the Book of the Law, through a mystical experience in Cairo, Egypt. He asserted that the book was dictated to him over 3 days by a preternatural entity named Was, whom he described as a messenger of the divine. This text became the foundation of Thelema, introducing its core commandments. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law, love under will. These statements encapsulate Thelema's philosophy, emphasizing individual freedom, self-discovery, and the pursuit of one's highest purpose. However, this is not a call to reckless indulgence, but rather an exhortation to align one's actions with their true will, which represents their deepest spiritual nature. Key Thelemic concepts. 1. True will. Thelema teaches that every person has a unique true will, a purpose or path that aligns with their highest potential. This is distinct from fleeting desires or ego-driven impulses. It is the essential mission of one's soul. Discovering and following one's true will leads to personal fulfillment and spiritual advancement. 2. Thelemic morality. Unlike traditional religious doctrines that impose rigid moral codes, Thelema asserts that morality is subjective and individualistic. Actions are judged based on whether they align with one's true will, rather than external societal norms. 3. The Aeon of Horus. The Book of the Law proclaims the arrival of a new spiritual era, the Aeon of Horus, characterized by individual empowerment and self-discovery. According to Crowley, previous spiritual ages, such as the Aeon of Osiris, dominated by organized religion and sacrifice, have given way to a new era where humanity must awaken to personal divinity. Symbolism in Thelema. Thelema is rich in esoteric symbols, many of which originate from Western occult traditions, Egyptian mysticism, and Kabbalah. Some of the most important symbols include the Eye of Horus, a representation of divine insight, protection, and the awakening of spiritual consciousness. The unicursal hexagram, a symbol of unity between opposites, representing the merging of the microcosm, individual, and the macrocosm, universe. The Mark of the Beast, 666, often misunderstood. Crowley embraced the title, the Great Beast, as a symbol of spiritual enlightenment beyond conventional morality, practical Thelemic practices. Practitioners of Thelema engage in various spiritual disciplines to discover and align with their true will. These include ritual magic, a structured system of ceremonies aimed at achieving mystical experiences and personal transformation. Meditation and yoga, techniques to develop self-awareness and spiritual discipline. Divination, tarot, astrology, I Ching tools used to gain insight into one's true will and destiny. Thelema is a deeply personal and liberating spiritual system that challenges individuals to take responsibility for their own enlightenment. It rejects dogma and encourages self-discovery, making it both a mystical path and a philosophy of personal empowerment. The phrase, "do what thou wilt," is not a license for chaos, but a call to align with one's higher purpose, creating harmony between the self and the cosmos. Aleister Crowley was a dedicated practitioner of ceremonial magic, a system of spiritual and mystical practices aimed at self-transformation, contact with higher forces, and the realization of one's true will. To distinguish it from stage magic, illusionism, he spelled it with a K, a nod to archaic spellings and numerological significance. His magical system blended diverse influences, including the Kabbalah, ancient Egyptian spirituality, Hermeticism, and Western occult traditions. The purpose of magic. Crowley defined magic as the science and art of causing change to occur in conformity with will. For Crowley, magic was not about supernatural powers, but about aligning the self with the universe through discipline, ritual, and spiritual exploration. It was a tool for personal enlightenment, self-mastery, and communion with higher intelligences. He believed that through magic, one could gain direct experience of divine forces and discover their true will. Key rituals and practices in Crowleyan magic. 1. The Gnostic Mass, Liber 15. One of Crowley's most well-known rituals, the Gnostic Mass, is a sacred ceremony of Thelema inspired by Christian and Gnostic traditions. It serves as the central rite of the Ordo Templi Orientis, OTO, a Thelemic organization Crowley led. The ritual involves symbolic elements such as the priest and priestess embodying divine masculine and feminine forces, the consecration of the host, symbolizing spiritual nourishment, the declaration of Thelemic philosophy, including the phrases, "Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law," and "Love is the law, love under will." The Mass is performed both as a communal religious rite and as a form of ritual magic, invoking divine energies to harmonize the practitioner with cosmic forces. 2. The Bornless Ritual. Also known as the preliminary invocation of the Goetia, this powerful invocation was adapted by Crowley as a means of achieving direct contact with higher spiritual intelligences. The ritual is believed to invoke the holy guardian angel, a personal divine guide that represents one's true will and higher self. It consists of chanting a series of divine names, drawing from Gnostic, Egyptian, and Hebrew traditions, focusing the practitioner's consciousness to transcend the ego, preparing the magician for advanced spiritual workings, including communication with divine forces. Crowley viewed this ritual as essential for anyone seeking to attain enlightenment and self-realization. 3. Enochian Magic. Crowley deeply explored the Enochian system of magic, a complex angelic language and set of mystical practices originally developed by Elizabethan occultists John Dee and Edward Kelly. Enochian magic involves calling upon angelic intelligences using special sigils, invocations, and Enochian keys, accessing different planes of existence through rituals and meditation, seeking spiritual knowledge and empowerment. Crowley incorporated Enochian magic into his Thelemic system, believing it provided a direct link to divine wisdom. Magical tools and symbols. Crowley emphasized the importance of ritual tools and symbols in ceremonial magic. Some key elements include sigils and talismans, charged with intent. These symbols focus energy and intention in magical work. The pentagram and hexagram rituals, used for invoking or banishing energies. The Stele of Revealing, an ancient Egyptian artifact that inspired Crowley's connection with the Book of the Law. Sacred geometry and Kabbalistic correspondences, used to map the spiritual universe and align with cosmic forces. The magical grades and initiations. Crowley structured his magical teachings within hierarchical systems of initiation, most notably in the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, where he trained in Western esoteric practices. The therefore Argentum Astrum, an order he founded to guide seekers towards spiritual enlightenment. The Ordo Templi Orientis, OTO, which incorporated elements of sex magic and mystical initiation. Each system involved progressive degrees of spiritual attainment, with each level revealing deeper knowledge and practices. Sex magic and Thelema. Crowley placed significant emphasis on sex magic, believing that sexual energy could be harnessed for spiritual transformation. He taught that through specific rituals, sexual acts could serve as powerful methods of manifesting intentions and achieving union with divine forces. This practice became central in the OTO and remains one of the most controversial aspects of his teachings. Crowley's magical system was a synthesis of ancient wisdom, mystical traditions, and personal experimentation. He sought to create a path that would lead individuals to enlightenment through ritual, willpower, and direct spiritual experience. Whether through the Gnostic Mass, the Bornless Ritual, or Enochian invocations, Crowley's magical practices remain influential in modern occultism, shaping contemporary esoteric movements and alternative spiritualities. Aleister Crowley remains one of the most controversial and enigmatic figures in modern esoteric history. His bold claims, unconventional lifestyle, and radical spiritual teachings earned him both devoted followers and fierce critics. While he was revered by some as a visionary mystic, others saw him as a dangerous occultist or even a charlatan. Despite the scandals and accusations that surrounded him, his influence continues to shape modern spirituality, occult practices, and popular culture. The scandals. The wickedest man in the world. The British press of Crowley's time vilified him, branding him the wickedest man in the world and accusing him of blasphemy, depravity, and dangerous occult practices. Several key factors fueled this notorious reputation. 1. Allegations of dark rituals. Crowley's involvement in ceremonial magic, particularly sex magic, shocked the conservative society of the early 20th century. His rituals, which involved symbolic invocations, sigils, and altered states of consciousness, were often misrepresented as satanic or sinister. The media accused him of conducting human sacrifices, though Crowley repeatedly stated that such references in his writings were metaphorical, referring instead to spiritual or psychological transformation. 2. Drug use and addiction. Crowley was known for his experimentation with psychoactive substances, including opium, hashish, cocaine, and mescaline. He initially used these substances in mystical and meditative contexts, but later struggled with addiction. His writings discuss the use of drugs in ritual settings, contributing to his image as a reckless hedonist. 3. Legal troubles and exile. Crowley's lifestyle and financial troubles led to several court cases. He lost a libel lawsuit against a newspaper, which ruled him as a fraud, further damaging his public reputation. He spent much of his life traveling in exile, living in locations such as Paris, Cefalù, Italy, and the United States. 4. The Abbey of Thelema, a failed utopia. In 1920, Crowley established the Abbey of Thelema in Cefalù, Sicily, as a commune dedicated to Thelemic teachings and ritual practice. Reports of bizarre rituals, open sexuality, and drug use alarmed both locals and authorities. When a follower, Raoul Loveday, died under mysterious circumstances, allegedly due to drinking contaminated water, the scandal deepened, leading to Crowley's expulsion from Italy. Crowley's influence on modern spirituality and occultism. Despite the controversy, Crowley's legacy as an occult thinker and mystic is immense. His writings and teachings laid the foundation for modern Western esotericism, inspiring spiritual seekers, magicians, and philosophers. 1. The New Age movement. Many principles of Thelema, personal transformation, self-actualization, and ritual practice, align with New Age beliefs. Concepts like finding one's higher self and manifesting one's destiny reflect Crowley's idea of discovering and following one's true will. 2. Influence on occult groups. The Ordo Templi Orientis, OTO, which Crowley restructured, remains an active occult organization dedicated to Thelemic teachings. The Argentum Astrum, LFR4, Crowley's mystical order, continues to guide practitioners in Thelemic magic and spiritual progression. His influence is seen in Wicca, chaos magic, and various branches of neo-paganism. 3. Thelema's enduring impact. The law of Thelema, do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law, is still studied and practiced by occultists worldwide. Crowley's books, such as Magick in Theory and Practice, the Book of Thoth, and the Book of the Law, are essential reading for students of Western mysticism. Crowley's impact on pop culture. Beyond the esoteric world, Crowley's persona and philosophy have left an indelible mark on popular culture, influencing musicians, writers, filmmakers, and artists. 1. Music and rock culture. The Beatles. Crowley appears on the cover of Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, 1967. Led Zeppelin. Guitarist Jimmy Page was a devoted follower, purchasing Crowley's former residence, Boleskine House, on the shores of Loch Ness. David Bowie referenced Crowley in Quicksand, singing, "I'm Closer to the Golden Dawn," immersed in Crowley's uniform of imagery. Ozzy Osbourne. His song, Mr. Crowley, explores the occultist's mystique. 2. Literature and film. H.P. Lovecraft and Dennis Wheatley were inspired by Crowley's persona when crafting fictional occult villains. Ian Fleming, author of James Bond, reportedly based the villainous Lucifer from Casino Royale on Crowley. Films such as Rosemary's Baby, 1968, and The Ninth Gate, 1999, echo themes from Crowley's work. 3. Comics and television. Alan Moore, writer of Watchmen and Promethea, has openly cited Crowley as a major influence. Grant Morrison, known for The Invisibles, incorporates Thelemic symbolism in his works. Supernatural, Doctor Who, and other TV series reference Crowley's occult ideas, sometimes portraying him as a mystical mastermind. The dual nature of Crowley's legacy. As a visionary mystic, many view Crowley as a revolutionary thinker who challenged outdated religious structures and sought to empower individuals through spiritual awakening. His writings remain influential in contemporary occultism, esoteric studies, and the search for personal enlightenment. As a controversial outcast, his personal excesses, reputation for arrogance, and scandalous lifestyle continue to overshadow his philosophical contributions. Critics dismiss him as a self-indulgent provocateur rather than a serious spiritual leader. Love him or hate him, Aleister Crowley's influence is undeniable. His philosophy of Thelema challenged religious dogma, promoted self-liberation, and inspired generations of spiritual seekers. At the same time, his hedonistic lifestyle and provocative reputation ensured that he would remain a polarizing figure. Whether seen as a prophet of the new aeon or the wickedest man in the world, Crowley's legacy continues to shape modern occultism, spirituality, and popular culture, ensuring that his name, ideas, and controversies endure long after his death. Aleister Crowley remains a fascinating and polarizing figure in the world of mysticism. Was he a true prophet or a cunning charlatan? His teachings invite us to question, explore, and seek our own spiritual truths. What do you think? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this journey into the unknown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more mystical explorations. Until next time, stay curious.